Hi, everyone. Before we jump into notes to paragraphs, I figured we would go over paragraph structure in general. And I have a very good structure to help you out to make things a lot easier. And so we'll talk about it. So let me share my screen. And don't do that. Okay. So what I use is the structure called TEST. TEST stands for topic, example, support, and tie-in. I believe that those four moves are part of clear and efficient communication. So all the different ways that you communicate should have all four elements of TEST in it. Some of them will be bigger than others depending on what your goal is, but you should have all of them. And as the semester goes along, we'll talk about how to incorporate those things into like resumes and cover letters. And my dog is coming in, but yeah. Objectives employ the writing process, critical reading for evidence, and then research planning. It's a lot of the stuff that we've been doing so far, and it's only week 2. So there are two kinds of paragraphs specifically for this class, but in general, the first one you have a lot of experience with. The second one is going to be kind of new. The first one is summary. These paragraphs offer the reader the background information about your topic. Basically, you're creating context. You're telling the reader, this is what the issue is. And then there's the analysis or the response. These paragraphs offer the reader an explanation of how you see or what your opinion is about the topic. Now, here's the thing. The analysis is the point of writing, meaning that's something that you are bringing new to the table. It is not necessarily based upon your feeling. It has to still be based upon some sort of evidence or some sort of, it could be experiential, but it should be something that's factually based. Topic. So this is the first T in TEST. Should be a sentence that generalizes the theme the rest of the paragraph will be about and help transition from one paragraph to the next. The topic is really important because it helps, it's a guidepost for the reader, and more on that in a little bit. Then there's evidence or example. This section is where you introduce a quote or example that supports your topic. This is the heart of the paragraph. This is where, when we go from notes to paragraphs, this is your quotes. This is the evidence. This is what, what shows that you're not making things up. Missing a part leaves the reader here. If you look at this picture, it is a seat behind a pole. It doesn't necessarily mean that the reader won't be able to, so in this case, it doesn't mean that the audience member won't be able to see the game, but they'll not see the whole picture. And so when you leave the reader like that, when you leave the audience like that, you're asking them to do more work. You don't like to work. Why would you force somebody else to do extra work that they don't have to do? Support. This is where you explain what the evidence says and what it means. It's 2 moves in this one, says and means. You have to translate the evidence for the reader because the reader might skip it. And I'll tell you this, when I read your paragraphs, I skip the evidence because chances are I've read it before. And then the means is you actually explain it more in detail. What does it mean? What is the larger implications of it? And implications is a big word, but what is the larger scope of this thing? How does it affect everything else that we've been talking about? What you want to do is hook the reader. You want to hook the reader. I don't know why this is still in here. This is an old picture. And then tie in, explain why the main idea or your opinion matters. This is where you get to speak a little bit of truth. Again, it's not personal, though. It has to really be boiling things down to the point. So in this section, though, I have this note here. This section I find separates the strong writers from the weak writers. I am a weak writer. I don't do well on tie-in, but when I see it, I know it's good. It's just that moment where you encapsulate everything before you move on to the next paragraph. You tell the reader, hey, this is what this was about. Speed dating, this is an assignment that we would do if we were in class. We will have already done this if you did your evidence log sharing. And then discussion, we would talk about it, make sure we were all on the same page. But that's test structure, topic, example, support, tie-in. The next assignment is actually going to break that down even further for you, but I did want to give you a little overview. This PowerPoint is on here, including this breakdown of the discussion and the steps for later. So yeah, there you go. I'll see you in a bit.